Hi everybody, TJ here with the 7 Summits Trader. I wanted to take the time to go through today's Russell eMini trades. There were some excellent learning points in the live markets today. We covered them during our VIP session, but I thought they were significant and I wanted to share them with the general membership of the SST. If you're just getting on board with the SST Simple, congratulations. I know a lot of you are eagerly awaiting your packages. Please be patient. That's not the scope of this video. The SST continues to be a force to be reckoned with. We just hit our 200-point level on the Russell eMini, new equity highs, new all-time profit levels, working on our third double-digit gaining week in a row. And in fact, we've already posted over 30 points in the last 3 days. Today we ended with 14 points, but it did require some expertise, knowledge, and application of the trade plan. And that's why I wanted to go through this walkthrough. This is actually a living proof as to why we do some of the things we do. As easy as we try to make the SST, and believe me, we've worked really hard at trying to make everything simple, the markets themselves are not always simple. But we can reduce a lot of our maneuvers and some of the nuances that we employ during our everyday trading to mechanical rules. We want to get it so that we just swerve around the pothole. We just react and do without too much thinking. Let's go into the session. We start at 9:30 according to our trade plan. And what you'll notice right away, and there was a lot of extracurricular news happening in the markets today with the whole Greek debacle, everything going on in Greece, and the world hanging on every single spoken word in regards to that crisis. We kind of had to hold our hand with some of our pre-market trading with other markets, like crude oil, for example. With the Russell, to cut and dry, we start at 9:30, fresh setup. Okay? Well, it was already in a reversal trade and an add-on trade. The reversal trade stopped out, but the add-on trade did not. In fact, it was still going. One of the things we don't do is add on to the add-on. We're not going to be interested in another short trade, a yellow trade, while the add-on trade is still going. Okay? Even though we're not in it, the system is. And we want to try to stay in sync with the system. Now, the fact is that I haven't seen this very often, and there's really not a lot of data to lean on. In other words, it probably is a good setup, but when in doubt, just stick to the rules of the trade plan. And there is no rule that allows us to put on a re-entry trade while an add-on trade is still in progress. We want to let the add-on trade finish. Okay, so we didn't take this trade. This trade here is a non-trade. It would have gained, okay, it's not that big of a deal as it turns out, but this is not a trade that we consider because we had to let the prior pre-market trade conclude before looking for a trade in that same direction with the yellow setup. Okay, now the yellow setup finally did conclude. In fact, so did the add-on trade with the 3-bar stop. It almost got to full target. The 3-bar stop would have taken it out right around where the add-on trade got out. So now we can take the next setup, and that's exactly what we did. And it was an awkward setup, 814.5. Now, if you know anything about the Russell eMini and about how we do key level adjustments, you should know that we always adjust around 5s and 0s. So our entry was at 814.4. It would have been nice to adjust around this swing level, but that swing level was all the way down to 814.1. So where are you going to adjust to? 814? 813.9? It's too big of an adjustment. Our trade plan calls for 1 or 2 tick adjustments, possibly 3, on the rare occasion 4. Now, it's possible you might have made this adjustment to 814 even. I opted just to go with it at 814.4. Okay? Sometimes you just got to trust your system. And as it turned out, this trade, I mean, it was a real nail biter. It was a trader's trade. It stayed in there. Notice how the stop started to cut itself down, 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 and then finally it moved down to 815.4. But again, keeping with our trade plan, we never put a short stop at 815.4. 0.4. Never at 0.4, never at 0.9. We always adjusted above to 0.6 or the 0.1 but if it were 0.9, right? So this one was 0.4, so our stop is at 0.6. We don't put it at 0.4. It's just something we never do. Okay, the calculator does not make those key level adjustments, but the rules of our trade plan tell us to make these adjustments. It's not something you think about, it's just a reaction. You swerve around the pothole and you just do it. And I called it like that live in the room. Okay, this came up a number of times. This was a question that kept popping up throughout the next 20 or 30 minutes or so because some people weren't paying attention and got stopped out. It did poke up to 815.5. In fact, then it poked up to 815.4, but it never went up to 815.6. And in fact, the calculator thinks it stopped out and gave another yellow setup. This one here. Guess what? Just like before, we don't acknowledge it because we're still in the prior trade. The prior trade is still going. Granted, we had to get off the dots on the chart, and it would be great if we didn't have to. But remember, the SST, these are just tools. These are tools that we use for trading, but we still have to be traders. And the trade plan calls for these key level adjustments. And guess what? There's a reason for that. Finally, after all this zigzagging up and down, when what looked like it might be a false breakout, right? Broke down, started moving up again. That adjustment gave us a new lease on life with this trade. And look what happens. It ends up coming down and hitting its full target. 814.4 to 812.1. 2.3 points. And then we had to trail. I mean, we're still trailing our second position. Guess what? There aren't any dots to follow. So all you have to do is know the 3-bar stop. It's covered in the training. It's very easy. Again, this came up in training. The bar making the lowest high is where we always reset our count. So that became 1. The next one became 2 with the higher high. The next one to the left, that's your 3-bar with the higher high. Just put a horizontal line above it. 1 tick above. And then adjust around 5s and 0s like we always do. And follow it. Okay? It held right here. Notice that the high is 812.6, so our stop is at 812.7. And it held. And then it moved lower. And now we have to start recounting because each lower high resets the 3-bar count. Finally, it gets down to this bar. 1, 2, 3. The high of that bar is 812.1. We push our stop down to 812.2. You see, you don't need the dots. You can do this without the dots. It's not hard. But we definitely do it every day in the trade room. And that's where the trade stopped out at 812.2. And that picked up 2.2. Not quite able to get on track with our runner. Still, it was 4.5 points. It was a $450 trade with the 2 positions. And we got out in the nick of time, didn't we? The 3-bar stop works great because then we got a reversal long trade. 813.1. And it triggered in. So we went from this short trade that we really had to kind of work our way through and know our maneuvers, know our rules. We were richly rewarded. Trying to get our second trade for power of quitting. All we need is 1 tick, and that has us quitting. If we were to stop out with a 1 tick gain, it would be our second winner. We already got our 1 winner at full target, according to the trade plan, right? And here we go. The trade locks in a tick, but then we get an add-on trade. Why do we get an add-on trade? Because the SST is identifying an increase in price momentum. That's how we use our OSOB indicator. And it gives us our basic setup, but we're already in the reversal. This add-on trade adds to the original position. It's the same trade. This is a very powerful setup. You can't do this if you're not adequately capitalized, but you can work your way up to it. It's a worthy goal to achieve as a trader because these add-on trades can be extremely profitable. But it could also take away from us. So we already have a nice result. Obviously it pops up and triggers in the add-on, and it hits a full target for the reversal trade right there. And we don't want to give that back. I mean, the add-on trade could end up turning around and losing and taking away quite a bit of our profits. But we still have to let the trade develop, and we have to manage it independently. So while the pink reversal trade stop is up here, the add-on trade is still down here, and we have to manually trail the channel until it reaches a money management level. But look at how the SST cuts risk on the add-on trade as it develops, and we can just track it with the horizontal line and push it up. But we also have to manage our stop on the reversal. We still have a trailing position, and that one goes up, and look at the trailer coming up and up on the add-on trade. Ultimately it syncs up to the pink stop, but then it pops up and gets to its money management level. So now we got to divorce the two stops and lock in a tick for the add-on trade so that it is at risk free, and it cannot hurt us anymore. And the pink trade is still down here following the 3-bar stop. So we have to know how to move our stops. This is something you can practice on your own during off hours in a sim account. Get used to how you manage your stops. One idea is to have 2 matrices open. If you're using TradeStation, for example, one of them you have your bracket, your O order sends order bracket. The other one can just be a single market order where you just click. You just click on where you need your stop, and you have to pay attention. Okay, but there are ways to do it. You just got to practice and go through the maneuvers. Make sure you can do it without mistakes. And it pays off. If you go through that effort, you learn how to pick up a move like this. It comes all the way up to here, and it finally stops out at 816.7, and that entire trade, I mean, it yielded 4.9 for the reversal and 4.6 for the add-on. And that's a 10.5 point trade right there. Add to that the 4.5 points that we made earlier, and we end up with a 14-point day. $1,400, 30 points so far on the week. Power of quitting. All right, so I hope that this was enlightening. The big message to learn, there's a couple here. One, know your trade plan. Have it open. Have it open on your desktop when you're trading. If something comes up that you don't know, refer to it. Maybe you'll miss the trade, maybe you won't, but you'll certainly learn, and it's part of the process. Okay, the other thing is just knowing how to do the physical maneuvers of your trade. Those two things are very critical. Okay? Finally, knowing your rules to the point where you can just react and deploy those rules. You can swerve around the pothole without thinking. If you think too much, you're just going to crash into the pothole. Okay, these are worthy endeavors. This is something that is worth achieving. Take the time, go through the foundational work. If you're back testing to take internal ownership, your 25 mistake-free trades in a row in live time, where you actually reinforce that internal ownership, continuing to track those trades in a UTA-style spreadsheet, but also proving that you can physically execute your trades and follow the trade plan. That is the road. That's the pathway to successful trading. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this video. This is TJ. See you next time.